She stood by while they mocked me. I'm done with her. Just a heads up before we get into it, this video includes 2 stories, both with recent updates, so let's get into the first one. My girlfriend, let's call her Sonia, had plans to attend some brunch with her girlfriends last weekend and asked me if I could come by afterward to pick her up. I said sure, no problem. Then she messaged me again and asked if I wanted to join them for a drink first, and afterward we could leave together. I told her I did not want to interfere or feel out of place, but she insisted it would be fine and encouraged me to come. So I went. The moment I arrived, nobody really said anything to me. I tried to jump into a few conversations, but everyone just kind of brushed me off or ignored me completely. That one drink she mentioned turned into 2, then more. Sonia had her arm around me like she was trying to include me, but she was not actually talking to me or even making eye contact. I started to feel out of place, like I was just tagging along, so I decided to quietly slip out. I messaged her saying I felt like I was interrupting their time and that I was totally okay with picking her up later instead. Right away, she called me, told me I was overthinking things, said it was all in my head and asked me to come back. So I went back. When I got there, the vibe had shifted. People were actually acknowledging me, and it seemed like the earlier weirdness was behind us. I was finally starting to enjoy myself, until I came back from using the restroom. As soon as I walked up, the whole group suddenly quieted down like they were mid-secret. One of her friends looked at me and told me I should step away from the conversation for a bit. I just stood there, a little confused, waiting for Sonia to say something. But she said nothing. She did not even look at me. I felt like I was being told to go sit in the corner like a kid who had done something wrong. Not wanting to cause a scene, I started to leave, and that is when Sonia told me, no, just do not listen for a second, and laughed it off like it was no big deal. I was still confused, but I sat back down and pulled out my phone. I could not really block out what they were saying. They were talking about Sonia's ex-boyfriend, who apparently went missing in another country a couple of years ago. Every few months, she still gets calls from strange numbers that might be from him. All of this was news to me. When they mentioned she still gets weird calls, I got up and went to the bar. I was not trying to be dramatic or cause a scene, I just needed space. I felt embarrassed, left out, and completely disrespected. 40 minutes went by while I was eating alone and having a drink. She sent me a message apologizing after about 20 minutes, but it took her another 20 before she actually came over. When she finally did, I told her straight up that what happened was not okay. I said I felt hurt and angry, and I brought up how she would have reacted if the roles were reversed. She agreed she would have been mad too. We talked about it some more, then left the place. On the way home, she got really defensive. She apologized again, then got irritated when I did not just accept the apology and move on. She said she knew she messed up, but what more did I want? Then she flipped it on me and blamed me for walking away from the group. She got more upset, so I dropped her off at her place, said goodnight, and went home. The following day, she was extremely sorry. She said she had been a terrible girlfriend, that she could not understand why she acted like that, or why she got mad at me when I told her I felt hurt. We had a long talk where she really listened and apologized again. She swore it would not happen again. She made it clear she finally understood how I felt. I appreciated that a lot. Still, even after that, I could not shake the feeling that something in me had changed. I know this was not some huge betrayal, but it felt like such a clear moment where your partner should have your back, and she didn't. It was not the first time either. I had felt this kind of thing before around her friends, but always assumed it was just me being insecure. Now, I am starting to think she really does not protect me when I am around her group. I am not asking her to center all her attention on me. I just want to feel like I matter. When she is around my friends, we all make sure she is included. If one of my buddies ever spoke to her like that or brought up my ex around her, I would shut it down immediately and make sure she felt prioritized. We talked through all of that. She promised again that it would never happen again. She acknowledged my feelings, owned up to everything, and told me she understood why I felt unsafe around her friends now. I appreciated that too. But I am still hurt. I am still angry. and I am still worried. She had a bachelorette weekend planned in Maui with those same friends, and before all this, I was not even a little concerned. But now I am imagining all sorts of things going wrong. I keep thinking I need something from her, but I cannot figure out what it is. Maybe just more time with her friends to see if she really does have my back next time. The strange part is, this is not like her. One of the reasons I love her is because she is normally very present and honest with me. She is usually good at speaking her mind and hearing mine. That is why this whole thing threw me off. It is hard to figure out if this was just one-off moment, or if this is who she really becomes around them. She admitted it was terrible, and she did seem genuinely sorry. I just feel unsettled now. Also, those strange phone calls? They really were from her ex. I might not have explained that part clearly before. One of her friends who used to be close to the ex brought it up and started fishing for details. It is not why they broke up, she left him before all that happened. But they had been together for nearly 10 years and even engaged, so I get why a part of her still finds the whole missing person thing unsettling. I also get that she probably thought hiding those calls from me was the kind way to handle it. But hearing about it that night just made the whole thing sting worse. I still want to be with her. I am not looking to end it over one screw-up. Most of the time, she makes me feel good. But I also cannot just brush this off. I want to forgive her, but that is not easy right now. Maybe this also comes back to me not being clearer with my boundaries. What she did was wrong, no question, but if I had just said how I felt right away or stuck to my decision to leave, this might have gone down very differently. Here is the update. It is wild that this happened just a month ago. It feels like forever. We broke up. I ended it with her last night. Things got better for a while, then worse, then up again, and then right back down. We were with her friends again, and it felt like she turned into someone else. Someone colder. Someone who just did not treat me right. I ended up shouting at her in front of everyone. She yelled back and gave me an ultimatum: either stay with her that night or walk away for good. I stayed. But the next week, I called to talk about how that made me feel, how weird it was to be given that kind of pressure. She did not hear a word. She accused me of trying to dump her. She came over to get her stuff without listening to a thing I was trying to say. After she left, she called again to apologize. Then she blamed me. Then she said I played her and cheated. Then she called once more saying she could not believe I did not fight harder for her. The next day, I sent her a breakup message. I just could not do it face to face. She came over again, said everything could change, said we were perfect for each other, begged me not to throw it away over one mistake. I told her I needed 1 week to think, completely on my own. She did not give me that week. The first day, she messaged me with nice greetings. I asked her to stop. The next day, it was about how tough it was. The day after that, she brought up all our good memories. Then the day after, she said what I was doing to her was cruel and that she would never have treated me this way. That hurt a lot. But honestly, all of it made the decision easier. I do not think she meant to manipulate me. I think she was just desperate, scared to lose me, and willing to do whatever she could to try to change my mind. We had dinner last night and it was civil. I told her clearly we were finished. Said goodbye. Then she called again that night. Begged me to come over. Told me she was scared to be alone. Told me I was her person and she could not let go. We cried on the phone together. I let it go on way too long. After 30 minutes, I said goodbye, hung up, and turned my phone off. When I woke up, there were 3 voicemails and 10 messages. Some were her saying how much trouble she was in. Some were thanking me for the time we had. Others were her asking if she could come over. And the last one said she would always love me. The last thing she sent me was probably the most calm and honest thing I had heard from her in a long time. It was an apology. She told me she would not contact me again. Said she would always love me. Said she was sorry for all the pain she caused and that she never intended to hurt me the way she did. I know that in my last post, it made her look really bad, and I mean, yeah, reading it back, it is obvious how out of control and manipulative she acted. Trust me, I saw it too. But the hardest part was how quickly she could flip. We could be having a great time, things feeling peaceful and steady, and then suddenly everything would blow up, and I would be back on defense like I had been dropped into a war zone. And the thing is, when she leaves a voicemail sounding like the soft, kind version of her, the side I used to love, I feel it. I still feel that pull. My chest tightens, and I think maybe we had something worth holding on to. But then I remember everything else, and it is not hard to remember anymore. I have the texts. I have the voicemails. I have the proof. The contrast is just that strong. What makes it harder is we talked about how a lot of the problems came up when she was around her friends. That is the part that keeps messing with my head, because deep down, it feels like that is something we could have fixed. I know it is not smart to think that way, but it still creeps in. Logically, I know staying would have made me a fool. I know that. It was a toxic loop, and I would be putting myself through it again and again. But emotionally, it feels like I threw away something important. My heart keeps telling me that real love is messy and that it takes work, that fighting means growing, that we were just figuring things out. And part of me still believes we could have made it to the other side stronger if we had stuck it out. But again, I know that is not the truth. That is just my emotions trying to rewrite the past. And of course, it does not help that one of the biggest things she would say to me was that I think too much and need to follow my heart. I do not really know what I am trying to get out of writing this. Like a lot of these stories that end in breakups, it is not like I need someone to tell me I did the right thing. That part is clear. It just does not feel right yet. It hurts even when the decision was correct. Now for the second story. This one is about my girlfriend and how things started falling apart with my parents. She was my first serious relationship. We met online about 10 months ago, hit it off right away. Neither of us is great in social settings, but she is better than me most of the time. Still, her social anxiety shows up in weird ways. Honestly, the relationship was mostly good, but we had a bunch of bumps, and lately, the fights have been more frequent. Some of them are about serious issues, and others are just dumb. We were trying to work through things, but the real tension was with how she interacted with my parents. Her family always liked me. Her parents said I was a good guy. Even with the language gap, they would say hello and try to talk when I visited. But it was not the same with my side of the family. My dad is laid back, not really the problem, but my mom is more intense, and there always seemed to be this weird tension between her and my girlfriend. My girlfriend said she thought my mom hated her, that she was always being judged. My mom told me that was not true. Still, when my girlfriend came over, she would say hi quickly and then go upstairs with me, not really making an effort to connect with my family. I always hoped we would all get closer, but she never really wanted that. It felt like she was trying to keep me away from everyone else. My mom asked me once what she actually did to make me happy. And I had to think about it, because we do have different interests. She wants to be a surgeon. I am a software engineer. But the big problems really started with two specific arguments. One day, she was over, and I had gone downstairs to find some old hard drive she needed. While I was looking, my mom was sorting through old files and asked me to help her for a bit. I also had to check on the pizza in the oven. It took about 15 minutes. The whole time, my girlfriend was upstairs by herself. She eventually came down, visibly annoyed, asked where I had been, ignored my parents completely, grabbed her pizza, and stormed back upstairs. I stayed downstairs for a while and then came up, and of course, we got into it. She said I abandoned her, that I was rude, and that I should have told her I was helping my mom. She said it was our time together and that I was inconsiderate. I thought it was kind of ridiculous, but I agreed to give her a heads up next time. That was the first time my parents saw one of our fights. Another fight happened when we were staying in a hotel over the weekend. She left her car at my parents' house, parked half in front of the mailbox. Our mailman will not deliver if he cannot pull up properly. My parents noticed the next morning and texted me, asking us to move the car. I thought we would do it before heading into the city. She had a totally different reaction. She got frustrated, complained about why they had not said anything earlier when she parked. She said it was not a big deal and did not want to waste time moving it. To avoid a bigger fight, I said I would take care of it myself. Then she told me, straight up, not to talk to my parents when I got there, just move the car and leave. She also said not to park in our driveway, even though my parents had said that was fine. I was on the phone with my parents while heading over, and they were not happy. They said it was not her place to tell anyone how to handle things on their property. They said if she had a problem, she could come move the car herself. I moved the car, but that was not the end of it. The next day, my parents sat me down. They told me they did not like her anymore. They said they were done trying and that they were not really comfortable with her coming around anymore. They had a few reasons. First, they thought she was trying to control me. That I was always doing what she wanted and never the other way around. Second, they said us being glued to the phone all the time, even during short separations, felt weird and obsessive. Third, they said she acted spoiled, immature, and was disrespectful. They just did not think she was good for me. And honestly, I did not disagree. I had started feeling the same way. We had been arguing so much, and it was always me trying to say things the nicest way possible to avoid a reaction. If I was not gentle enough, she would blow up. And then she would accuse me of being the one who started the fight. I had started questioning things she said to me, but I kept giving her the benefit of the doubt. She also made fun of one of my hobbies, robotics. She called it dumb, said it was just playing with big toys. I told her that was not fair, that she was not being supportive. She said going to 2 events was her way of showing support, but at one, she left early, and the other one was part of a trip she wanted anyway. I felt like I had to be constantly careful not to upset her. She would always say I was the one starting problems. Deep down, I knew this relationship was heading toward a wall, and even though we were going to counseling, I had a bad feeling. After some of our worst fights, she would tell me she did not love me like she used to and wondered why we were still together if she was so unhappy. But I knew that if I ended it, she would be devastated and furious and blame me for everything. It was getting to be too much. I had that moment where everything finally clicked. I knew I had to get out. I needed to know how to do it without everything exploding. I did not want to force things anymore. I just wanted out. Here is what happened next. Before I get into the update, let me clear some stuff up. Yes, my parents were too involved in our relationship. I get that. But I never actually brought our issues to them. They were the ones who brought it up to me first. On the other hand, I cannot count how many times I had to sit in silence while my girlfriend ranted about our private issues to her mom or her friends while I was right there in the room. She had no concept of boundaries. About the pizza night, I went downstairs to help her looking for that drive, taking out the food she wanted, and I told her that. She said I left her alone for an hour. It was maybe 20 minutes, and I was helping my mom while I was at it. My mom never asked me to help her with anything before when my girlfriend was over. It just happened this time because I was standing right there. And about the mailbox thing? People were saying my parents were controlling, but I do not agree. They never called or checked in when we were out. They saw the car the next morning. We had planned to move it after going to the barbecue event, but my girlfriend changed her mind, said she was tired. So I went alone and moved it myself. That whole thing took 20 minutes at most. So now, here is the final update. I ended it. I broke up with her yesterday. We got into another argument, not a big one, but it was the final straw. I realized if we are fighting this often, we are not compatible. She cried a lot. She admitted that she knows she asks too much from me. She said she acts like a child sometimes and that we are in completely different stages of life. She is in college, works retail, lives like a student. I have a full-time career. She said that gap makes things hard. She admitted she can be too aggressive, too reactive, that she does not mean to start fights, but somehow always does. She apologized, said she finally realized what she was losing. But I did not let myself fall for it. I stuck to my decision. I told her no more chances, no more dragging it out. It is over. Then I sat down with my parents and had a separate talk. Told them my relationships are not their business unless I say so. Told them to stop getting involved, stop offering advice unless I ask. They understood. They listened. I also told them from now on, details about my relationship stay private. I do not want to stay in something toxic just because it is familiar. I loved her, yeah, but I know this was not healthy. Now I am single, and it is done. I am learning from it. Planning to move. Got friends in California and hoping to be there by next year. Thank you to everyone who gave me advice.